there's a group of people who just happen to be vloggers who checked into a resort and stayed there for ayan, I'm not sure, overnight lang or just a short stay lang, about 2 nights or so. And when they left, they supposedly didn't tidy up their rooms, and the resort's personnel or management posted the pictures of the state of the room and then identified the guests. Tinag pa talaga sila and grabe yun. Tinag pa talaga sila saying that, parang uh, accusing them of, well, of bad behavior. um, so medyo, yun lang yung yun yung basic lang na kwento dito. Of course, in defense of themselves, I don't like to name names, no, kasi medyo, I have a feeling this might turn into a case. So, I don't want to have to how do you call this, create any misimpressions yet. So okay, the bloggers explained their side naman also on social media, saying that they went there, they had paid naman properly, no damage had been done, and in fact were they said that they did not even complain about some of the unreasonable amounts that were being asked of them. Halimbawa, they were allowed to cook. I mean, kasama dun sa agreement is that they can cook in the resort. But every time you need utensils or cooking implements or equipment or anything like that, you had to pay. So, bayad for the sandok, bayad for the cover of the cacerola or whatever it was. So, again, what it boils down to is this is an issue of primarily a contract. Okay? May contract eh. Medyo special yung contract kapag sa ganyan sa hotel, places where you stay, you eat, and so on. Alright. Kasi pag hindi sila nagbayad, pwedeng criminal case yon for estafa. But this is not a case of hindi nagbayad. In fact, that was clear with the narration even of the resort itself or the establishment. So, dun sa ang inireklamo lang nila is bakit ang dumi-dumi, bakit ang gulo-gulo. So, the pictures naman show like the towels were placed, let's say, on the lampshade. There were things on the floor. There was some garbage. That didn't look like a lot. The beds weren't made, and so on. So, was this unreasonable on the part? The issue is whether or not reasonable yung pag-iwan ng mga, what do you call them, mga guests of the state of their rooms or their room, and the pati yung parang kusina nila and the unwashed dishes and so on. So normally yan in establishments like this, given or it is agreed that it is the cleanliness, including the daily cleaning, the disposal of the utensils or food or implements used for eating and so on, the towels, general cleaning of the room and the areas that are used are with the management, belong to the establishment. Ngayon, and that is usually understood. Di ba pagka nag-check-in naman tayo, you don't anymore get a contract. Or at least, well, in most cases, and in particular this one, it doesn't appear to have any written contract. And so, medyo dito na magkakaroon ng issue. Kasi, there seems to be an expectation on the part of the establishment na maglilinis or at least magiging maayos yung pag-iwan ng mga guests. On the part of the guests, they assumed that it was on the part of the establishment. The additional issue here now is the libel and the violation of data privacy. Kasi nilabas ng resort yung pangalan or yung tinag yung dalawang, at least two of the guests who were there, named them, and and left them open to embarrassment. Now, what is libel? Libel is a malicious imputation of a crime, vice, or defect um, that is publicly published. So, or any utterance that will bring shame to a person. And if conducted online, as this was on social media, um, gives it a different dimension. Although sa libel, hindi tumataas ang penalty unlike sa terrorism. All right. So dito, it's the question is whether or not it was part of the contract. The cleaning up is part of the contract. And two, if the resort uh, expected some kind of behavior on the part of their guests, and if they did they tell the guests what these expectations were? Kung hindi sinabi ng resort dun sa mga guests na expected silang maglinis, then it is unreasonable for them to have done what they did. To call them out. Okay? Unreasonable to call them out kasi dapat may expectation on the part of the guests. Kung alam nila na ganun pala yon and it was stated clearly either in writing or at least verbally, then by keeping things untidy, by allowing the things to be untidy, the state of the room and the areas that they used to be untidy, then it would be reasonable na on the part of the establishment to have called them out. Okay. Is it reasonable for them to have tagged and to have made that kind of post? Ang tingin ko dyan, unreasonable. Kasi nga, even if sabihin natin tama sila by maliciously imputing a defect or this shameful or embarrassing behavior on the part of the guests, then it leaves them vulnerable to a possible lawsuit. Not saying it will win because that will depend really on the evidence that will be presented later on. So, for me, if the establishment had been clear about what their expectations were from their guests in return for them hiring and paying for the place, then yeah, sige, okay lang, call out mo sila, but it does not really exonerate them from the libel, possible libel. Okay? It only goes into the whether or not they are reasonable in making that call out. So alam nyo, kung called out lang, tapos hindi sila in-identify, then the issue would be simply whether or not tama yung expectations ng guests or nagkamali ba sila. But by posting it now, the problem has a different dimension. Mas malaki yung problema kasi now it is a question of whether or not the resort committed libel or the person who uploaded on the Facebook of the resort is liable for libel. Personally, I think medyo unreasonable on their part to have done that.